we might have been talking about him anyway, but in the light of the announcement, in the light of game number 200 for one franchise, Virat Kohli will be the focus today.
And he said that's his franchise for life. If someone else had said, this is my franchise for life, someone would have tapped him on the shoulder from behind and said, if selected. But he's Virat Kohli, right? So he can say, my franchise for life. And it's good to see he's the only player in the history of this tournament, only Indian player, I think. Is there anybody else? Malinga till he retired. But yeah, who's only been with one franchise all through, which is a magnificent record. You would have liked to have had a couple of titles against his name, but you can't get everything in life. So, and 200 games, so one franchise, fantastic. I mean, as the tournament grows, we are now 13, 14 years old, it starts to get these traditions starting to come in. When you say great United players, great Chelsea players, great Real players, now you're saying great Bangalore players, and he's got every single record. You'd imagine with a batsman of his caliber playing as many games as he has, that he would hold those. But the one that I will always remember is that, what do they call it? Annus Mirabilis? Is that what they call it, Gautam? 2016, 973 runs. I don't know if it'll ever be matched.
Fair enough. But Duri, we had a little bit of a chat yesterday on this because the breaking news came in while we were on the show. Let me get your thoughts on it. Also, in the light of something you said on this very show, but in 2019. You still remember that, Duli?
Yeah, I do. I was sent it actually by a very much a Cricbuzz fan, a gentleman who we all know very well. But look, it was just around the workload and the amount of strain that captaincy, particularly captaincy of India, takes on on Virat Kohli's shoulders, and to captain RCB, to captain India, to do that year in, year out. It is the most precious situation, I think, in world cricket. And he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's an emotional guy, and I think it was taking his toll, just on him as a person, maybe him as a player as well. And my point a couple of years ago was about, for RCB in particular, just let Virat Kohli be the best player in the world. He was at the time, he probably still is now, although some of the numbers are not showing that at the moment. I still think he is, one of the best players in the world. So I just love to see him finish out his RCB career, and that won't be for another few years yet. I don't think at all. He'll still play for 2, 3, 4 more years at least for RCB. I'd love to see him finish that out as the best player and just help them win a title. And just whoever comes in as captain, nurture them, help them along, have some advice, but just be a player and really enjoy his time on the ground. Just as a player, just as a batsman, I think it'll bring out the best of him at this level. Harsha talked about that 900-odd run year. It was just crazy. It was crazy good. You'd love to see him have one or two of those and maybe lead, RCB to a title as a batsman rather than as a captain. And I think that that could certainly come along for him.
Gautam, everyone says give every moment 100%. All great athletes do that. They give every moment 100%. But here's Virat, who's not only giving 100%, but physically is putting so much into every moment. Now he's got a child. He's probably sitting there and enjoying seeing his daughter and suddenly thinking, but what am I going to do tomorrow when Bangalore play Kolkata? What are my field placements going to be? Who are my overseas players going to be? And because he's so intense, there are very, say, MS Dhoni is completely opposite. MS Dhoni is very cool. I'm not saying one is better than the other. Just temperamentally, they're very different. Kane Williamson, temperamentally, very, very different from a Kohli. So you can see Joe Root is a bit of a warrior. So each person has this temperament, the temperament they bring onto the ground. And that's why I think we might have said that on a program in Cricbuzz after 100 he got in South Africa back in 2018, I think, saying this intensity is impossible to go on with. So actually, as I said yesterday, I thought he would give up our Bangalore before he gave up India.
But Julie, let me just put you on the spot, because we've come up with a lot of reasons trying to analyze this. But do you think in Virat Kohli's mind, the number one reason would be the burden of these decisions of being captain? 2, not having won a trophy for the franchise? Or 3, to let his batting flourish?
Combination of 1 and 3, I think. To me, letting his batting flourish, let his bat do the talking will be one of the keys for him. And I think maybe he's looking at it now and saying, you know, my best option to win an IPL title is to score 700 runs, 650, 700 runs in a season, and just maybe let someone else take on the burden of the worry. And for me to just walk out and be free and be fresh and enjoy my captaincy. I think at times between Kohli and AB de Villiers, they have almost thought there is nobody else that can win us a game. So we're lumping all this pressure on ourselves to have to win games. And I actually don't think that is the best way, or that has been the best way for RCB. There have been, over the years, there have been so many good players in those sides, but I just don't think they've been allowed to flourish. I think the pressure that AB and Virat have put on themselves has meant that they feel, you know, they're almost the only ones that can do it. If we don't do it, nobody will do it, sort of thing. So to me, I just think this will be, I think it's a great move. I really do. Look, if he doesn't win it this year, he's every chance of doing it next year or the year after, just as a batsman. And I think he'll still get the enjoyment out of it. He'll still get just as much enjoyment out of it. So in answer to those two, I think it's more 1 and 3 than it is 2.